Foundation speculation relevance.
I'm
just asking if he saw. He said he saw. He said he saw him every day. So I was asking if he saw.
I'll allow the question if you can answer it. That's fine.
Marilyn Manson didn't come to the house. I didn't see him at any point.
Do you know if Mr. Depp left to be with Marilyn Manson?
I don't know. I didn't always know where he was going. If he went out, it was either to work or the security would go with. I wouldn't generally go. In fact, I don't think I went out with him at all in Australia.
And you didn't go out with Mr. Depp at all when he was in Australia, correct?
I don't recall it. I saw him on set once or twice. Yeah.
So you don't know what Mr. Depp was doing in Australia?
É o mordomo dele, acho
unless
eu.
Unless you saw him at the house or on set, is that right?
I saw him at the house, yes, every day.
But you don't know what Mr. Depp was doing when he left the house, correct?
Generally going to work on Pirates of the Caribbean 5 filming, yes.
But were you with him?
No, but the security with him, and I had to liaise with him for when...
O Chris Pratt, ele diz que não vai fazer a voz do Mario, puto.
But you weren't there.
Não vai fazer sotaque.
When Mr. Depp left the house, correct?
Generally, I didn't leave the house with Mr. Depp.
Quem é que está a ganhar? Não é assim que funciona.
I just want to make
Não é assim que funciona.
There were two kind of periods that Mr. Depp
Tá bem, filho, já vou ver isso. Não tenho feito novos talentos agora, por acaso.
Sorry, say again.
Mr. Depp was in Australia from sometime in February 2015 until about March 8th, March 9th, when he injured his finger, is that right?
Correct, yeah.
And
Sim.
Mr. Depp left Australia too, correct?
At some point he flew to LA, yes.
And then Mr. Depp returned to Australia on April 21st, right?
Okay, that sounds about that time. I don't know the specific date. I don't recall.
Como é que é, JP?
And the filming of Pirates of the Caribbean 5 continued filming on April 21st, right?
Objection. Foundation speculation.
I didn't get... Oh, sorry.
There's objection.
You recall testifying to that in the UK?
Coitado, está nervoso o senhor.
I'll overrule the objection if you can answer it.
That the filming of Pirates of the Caribbean 5 continued filming on April 21st, 2015.
I wasn't involved in the filming schedule. I didn't know when it resumed, to be honest. I knew Mr. Depp would come back to resume filming, for sure.
You didn't live with Mr. Depp in his house in Australia, correct?
Live with? No, I wasn't resident there.
Now, when you arrived at the house, you saw a significant amount of damage, correct?
Yes, through the course of, after I arrived, yeah.
Okay. And the scene was chaos, correct?
Chaos, I mean, there was a fair amount of damage.
The house was wrecked?
There was a lot of damage in the house, yes.
And the house was not in a good state, correct?
Asked and answered.
There was a lot of damage throughout the house.
You got to object first, and then you'd have your objection,
Yep.
Mr. Moses.
Objection.
Stand, and it helps. Okay. I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead. Next question.
Okay. And you said...
Bro. Mano, é que o gajo pergunta-te 20 vezes a mesma coisa.
There was glass on the floor, correct?
In a few areas, mainly predominantly in the bar, yes. Down in the lower ground floor, correct.
Okay, and there was blood on the walls, correct?
In various places, blood on the floor, blood on the walls.
And there was blood on the walls throughout the 3 stories of the house, isn't that right?
No, I wouldn't say that was the extent of it. There were smears up the staircase going up to the master from the main level. There were smears and drips on the carpet.
So there were smears from the master level up to the bedroom area? I mean, from the main level up to the bedroom area, is that right?
Up to the 3rd floor, yes.
Like someone had walked from the main floor up to the bedroom floor, correct?
There was blood going up on the staircase, and some on the walls, smears where you might have done that.
As if someone was walking from the main level up to the master bedroom, correct? Is that what the blood was like?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. Or down.
Up or down, but from the main level to the 3rd floor, correct?
Bro, que chatos, mano. Este gajo, mano, o Johnny já se está a rir porque foda-se.
And you said the sofas were damaged, is that right?
One sofa in that sitting room, which was just off the kitchen, was quite an open plan thing, so there was a sofa with a large TV on a wall-mounted TV in front of that sofa.
And the sofa was on the main level, correct?
Correct, just by the main kitchen, exactly.
And where the sofa was damaged, was that with what?
Blood.
Blood, okay. And lights were damaged?
Some lamps, a couple of lamps, yes.
Okay. And
É,
there were
é, é
bottles
mau,
of
é.
alcohol
É
in and out of
lixado.
the
Mas...
fridge, correct?
Sorry, what do you mean?
Did you see bottles of alcohol in and out of the fridge?
A escrever.
Yes.
No.
I mean, there was. I don't completely understand what you mean.
You saw that, correct?
There was alcohol bottles. Yes, there was in the fridge. I mean,
Eu acho que eu ainda não ouvi falar uma única vez.
And the floors were ruined, correct?
Ruined. I mean, there was a lot of.
Eu ainda nem
damage
sequer
on the
ouvi
floor,
falar. Eu acho que só
down
ele é
the
que fala
bar
aqui.
area and the staircase and on the main floor area, on the wooden parquet floor, correct?
Só vejo testemunhas e ela. E
I
ele.
eventually got them sanded. Yes.
And it took, you were there, I think you testified, it took you about 12 to 13 hours in the house cleaning up, correct?
Correct.
And you said that there was, is it your testimony that you didn't see any of the paintings damaged?
The existing paintings from the owners from the house, no, none of them were damaged.
You didn't see any paintings with a painting of a penis drawn on it?
I did not, and thankfully that was something I didn't have to replace.
Do you know if anyone else
any
saw that?
painting.
Objection, speculation.
I mean, I would have seen it.
Whenever there's objections, Mr. King,
I'm
just
so
need to
sorry.
stop, that's all right.
I'm sorry.
All right, if you stand, we can see you better when you do that.
Understood. Your
Okay, I'll sustain the objection.
Coitado do Mordone, mano. Dá vontade de ir lá dar-lhe um abraço ao senhor. Porque ele nota-se que ele nunca foi sequer a tribunal na vida, puto. É a primeira vez que vai a tribunal. Coitado, o senhor está tão atrapalhado.
And you said that Jerry Judge was at the house, correct?
Correct.
And he's the head of Mr. Depp's security, correct?
Correct.
And Dr. Kipper was at the house?
Yes, he was.
And Debbie Lloyd was at the house as well, correct?
Yes, she was.
Okay. Now, you understood that Mr. Judge saw scratches on Ms. Heard on March 8th, correct?
Objection, hearsay, speculation, foundation.
All right. I'll sustain the objection.
Não, isto ainda não acabou.
Did
Mas
you have, the cleaning lady was going to be coming to the house, correct?
The housekeeper?
Yes, the house.
You can answer it.
Thank you. Concern. Sorry.
There was concern about the cleaning lady coming to the house and seeing all the damage that had been done, correct?
I know that when I left to fly to LA with Miss Heard, I told both the chef and the housekeeper they didn't need to be coming to the house because Miss Heard, essentially the principals weren't there. Mr. Depp wasn't there. Miss Heard was obviously with me at that point. So I said they didn't need to come to the house.
Isn't it true that you told Mr. Judge that you thought you could get the cleaning lady to swear to silence about what the house looked like?
Objection, hearsay.
It's his own statement.
His own statement, I'll allow it.
Isn't it true that you told Mr. Judge that you thought you could get the cleaning lady to swear to silence about what the house looked like?
I think I probably made a comment about, I should just come back and deal with this myself, if that's what you mean, and just get cleaned up.
And make sure that she wouldn't say anything, correct?
I don't know. I trusted her and the chef anyway. They were good team members.
As the house manager, part of your job is you said you worked with high profile people, correct?
High profile, high net worth, I think is what I actually said.
Would you agree that one part of your job is to keep things discreet for your clients?
Of course, it's part of my job. Trust and discretion, yeah.
And Mr. Depp was your client, right?
I worked on an assignment on those occasions, yes. But I was self-employed at the time, yeah.
But in March 8th, 2015 in Australia, Mr. Depp was your client, correct?
Correct, essentially, yeah. And Miss Heard, both of them the principals.
Who paid? And do you know who paid for your services?
As I said before, I was paid through Disney, who were making the Pirates of the Caribbean, their production company, which I believe was called Herschel.
Ok.
And can we put up defendants?
Não preciso se ele trabalha para ela ou para ele.
Which is already in evidence.
All right. You gotta put on.
Lixado, pá. Pois, aparentemente trabalhava para a Disney, já. Pois, mas imagina.
Do you see Defendants Exhibit 377 in front of you?
I do, yes.
And do you recognize this as a lampshade that was in the house in Australia on March 8th, 2015?
Yes, it was, I believe, one of the lampshades that was missing from one of the lamps.
Okay.
Oh.
And you saw, did you see this painting on the lampshade?
I did, yeah. It was part of my walk around to
Okay.
see
And,
what.
and what floor was the lampshade on?
This was on where the art studio was, on that main level.
Yeah, so on the main level. Okay.
Yes.
Um,
Excuse me.
and was this did you notice it was dark paint that was on the lampshade?
It certainly looked like it, yes.
Okay. And did you take this picture?
I believe I did. Yeah, without seeing the metadata.
Okay. And can we put up Defendant's Exhibit 374, please?
Foi ele que tirou a fotografia. Foi ele que tirou aquela foto, man. Holy shit, o gajo até regalou os olhos.
And you recognize Defendant's Exhibit 374 as a mirror that was in the house in Australia on March 8th, 2015, correct?
Yes, I do.
And this mirror was in the bathroom, correct?
Correct. There were 2 mirrors in the bathroom above each sink.
And this was on the top floor, correct?
The master bathroom,
The master
essentially.
bathroom. And the master bathroom, just so I'm clear, was on the top floor,
Top
right?
floor, correct.
And this painting said starring Billy Bob. Is that right? Is that what you recall?
Yeah, I don't know. I was writing.
And was this in
Era o mordomo
gray?
deles.
Was it in paint?
Que é o Billy Bob?
I believe it was the same paint, the oil paint that was used on the other mirror that we saw earlier.
And did you take this picture?
Again, possible. I haven't seen the metadata, but yes, probably.
And let's put back up Defendant's Exhibit 375.
Bro, what the fuck? Acho que é o mordomo deles os dois. Ai, é com caralho.
This writing was also in the master bathroom, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Call Carol.
And could you tell if the black paint
Carly.
was on top of the red or
She said it better,
under the
babe.
red?
Love
I
naked.
didn't really analyze it, to be honest. I just knew I was going to have to clean it up
She
at some point.
Right, your whole concern
loves.
was cleaning up the house, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't know who wrote what on the mirror, correct?
No, I know that one was oil paint and the other red writing was lipstick.
And lipstick, you're not even sure of that. You just saw it was something sticky. Is that right?
I'm pretty sure it's waxy, like
Waxy.
lipstick-like. Same as the oil paint was oil paint-like.
Okay. Did you see paint? Did you see also any writing in blood?
Writing, not necessarily.
Okay. Now, did you have
Qual que está à frente que está a falar? Este gajo é o advogado dela.
To go back to LA, you were with her, correct?
Correct.
Did you help her pack?
I think I may have done at that point. Yes, I think I did.
Did you see weren't Miss Heard's clothes ruined?
I didn't see any
Pois.
ruined clothes.
Yeah.
There wasn't paint on her clothes?
Not that I could see. Not so much.
Em preto escreveu o Depp e em vermelho a Amber.
Not
The
at that
fuck?
point of packing. I mean,
There was paint in the tub, correct?
say again. Sorry.
There was paint in the tub in the bathroom, correct?
I don't recall that.
Man,
Recall
que
one or the
malucos, bro. Tipo, what the
I don't
fuck?
recall being paint in the tub.
And it's your testimony that there was no paint or blood on Miss Heard's clothes. Is that what you're saying?
Ah, recados um ao outro, ok.
No, I'll allow.
Now,
Sei lá, bro. Que cena marada.
you said you were in charge of the cleanup, correct?
Yes, it was my responsibility.
Um,
The house was.
And you were working with Mr. Judge in cleaning up the house. Is that right?
On the night that the day that I arrived there,
Yes.
Mr. Judge did help me at some point. Yes, sweeping up glass,
Oh.
etc.
Qualquer pessoa chega a essa conclusão, né?
Was there photos taken of more than the three pictures you've been shown?
Photos.
Photos
by-
of the house.
Então, mas isso é o trabalho do tribunal, ó, Matadeiro. Claro que é importante, bro. Estás a gozar.
Few, yeah, I mean, yes.
And did you take pictures other than the three that we saw?
I think I probably did as I was going around.
Do you know who you gave those pictures to?
No.
Do you know what you took the photos with?
My phone.
And who would you have sent those photos to?
And send them to anybody. at that point.
You just kept them?
Yes.
Did you show the photos to anyone?
No.
Do you still have the photos?
Yes.
Where are they, on your phone still?
They're on one of my devices. Yes.
Okay. Did you take a photo of the vodka bottle that you said was broken?
Yes.
And you have that photo?
Yes.
Okay, and you didn't give that to anybody?
There are a fair few photos. I can show it to you now if you want.
How many photos did you have on your phone?
I don't remember the number, but probably more than 10.
Did anyone ever ask you for the photos?
Several of them, yes. Yes.
Did you give them to the people who asked?
Some of them, yes.
Not all of them?
I don't recall how many.
Who asked you for the photos?
Bro.
I was involved in a case in London a couple of years ago.
Did you give the photo of the vodka bottle to the people that you were involved in the case in London?
Objection, relevance, Your Honor.
Overruled, all that.
Say again, sorry.
Did you give a photo of the vodka bottle to the people you were working with in London?
I don't recall which photos I given.
What other? So
Não
did
há.
you take photos of
Não há legendas. Isto é em direto, bro.
the walls?
The walls, certainly the smears of the blood and the damage.
Ele tem as
the plaster
fotos.
damage.
O gajo tem as fotos no telefone.
You took
Isto não pode ser
photos of
considerado obstrução à justiça.
walls with
De alguma
blood, is that
maneira.
right?
Obrigado, Beatriz.
Yes.
And you took photos of the plaster, right? That was damaged?
Isto é bué louco.
At the end of the bar and in the bar, behind the bar, by the sink, yes.
And
Puta, eu
did you
posso
take
pôr
photos
legendas,
of
mas
the-
imagina, isto é gerado automaticamente. Isto pode não ser.
Yes, as part of the bar area, I'm
Did
sure.
you take photos of? There was a glass table that was.
Ou seja,
broken
estou a
too,
ver.
correct?
The glass table, I don't recall a glass
Did-
table.
Okay. Did you take photos of all the damage that was around the house?
Probably most of it, yes.
Não, isto não está bom.
The only time
Isto
you
é em
took
direto,
photos
bro.
of
É o
anyone
Google
you
que
were saying-
traduz. Isto não vai traduzir como deve de ser. Olha.
was in the.
I've never shared them with anybody else, yes.
Isto está na CBS, só se ele está no Law and
And it costs
Crime.
I don't know the
Between-
exact cost. I think
Deve estar
I
neste.
calculated at the time, after all the vendors had been and done their thing, it was about 50,000. I see.
É aqui que ele está?
Now,
Mas e tu?
you said you flew back to Australia with Miss Heard, correct?
I didn't fly back with
I
Miss
mean, flew
Heard.
back to LA.
Está baixo este.
It cost about $75,000 to.
Este está bem de abaixo.
I didn't fly back with
I
Miss
mean, flew
Heard.
back to LA from Australia. Thank you, with Miss Heard, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And you were asleep for most of the flight, correct?
For a lot of it, I think it's a 14-hour flight, so I think we both slept for quite a lot of it. Yeah.
You were exhausted from the 13 hours you were working on the house, right?
Correct.
And your testimony was that Miss Heard said to you, "Have you ever been so angry with someone that you just lost it?" Correct?
After I'd asked, so what happened?
But you didn't. you didn't inquire as to what she was referring to, right?
I mean, by what happened, it was pretty clear what I was referring to.
Let me ask again. You did not inquire as to what she was referring to, did you?
With her answer,
Correct.
she didn't inquire as to my reason for asking, but it was pretty obvious to both of us what I was asking and what her reply was regarding.
Não, eu acho é que o mordomo está tipo ali como witness of the defense. Estão a ver? Tipo,
Thank you.
eu já percebi que o mordomo está ali para tipo meio que
Thank you.
continuar a corroborar as coisas que ele. Então, mas...
Mr. King, you testified on behalf of Mr. Depp in the UK, correct?
Correct.
Ok, ele
And
testemunhou
you provided
a favor do
witness
Depp.
statements, correct?
Correct.
And then you provided testimony in court, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And if you take a look at page 1103 of your testimony,
Jesus Christ.
you see how the pages go in fours?
Yeah. No.
What?
You see it's actually on the
Bottom right?
bottom right. You see that?
Yeah, got it.
And if you actually look at,
Faço ideia.
you see starting at the bottom of 1102, this was a statement when you said you did not, you say, Ms. Heard asks you, have you ever been so angry with anyone that you lost it? Your answer, that's correct. And you specifically remember that, do you? Yes. You said it never happened to you. Answer, that is correct. Question, she did not, I mean, if it was said, nothing was said about who she was talking about, was it? Answer, she was asking me a question. Question, she was asking you a question. Answer, yes. Question, you did not inquire as to what she was referring to, did you? I do not recall asking. I know that she was asking for a question and I gave her an answer. You see that?
Yes.
Okay, and that was your testimony you gave in the UK 2 years ago, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Ou seja, ela
So you don't know
passou-se
what, and you
dos
don't know what
cornos.
Ms. Heard was talking about when she made that statement, correct? You don't know if she was inquiring, that she was making that statement about Mr. Depp, right?
Like I said, I'd asked the question, what happened, referring to the house, and she gave me that answer. So I think we were both, it was pretty clear to both of us what we were talking about.
Claro.
I mean,
And then you went to sleep,
at that point,
and then you went to sleep, and then you had the flight the rest of the
sometime after that, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, and you said you saw
Não sei.
Ms. Heard with cuts on her
Os
arm,
advogados dela podem querer também interrogá-lo a ele.
That's
Yeah,
right,
exato, é isso.
Towards the end of the flight, yeah.
É isso. Podem querer também,
If
os
we could
advogados
put up
dele.
376G.
Pois é isso.
Do you recognize this picture?
I've not seen this picture before.
Were these the cuts? Did you see cuts like this?
Ui, 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 pera lá, pera lá. Pera lá que isto os cuts.
Ms. Heard?
Is that misheard?
Why don't we put up 376?
Pera lá que isto pode dar. Eu não sei o que é que eles vão mostrar, malta,
Do you
desculpa.
recognize the person in that picture?
That's misheard.
All right. And did you see cuts like that which are on her left arm?
Não.
Similar to that, long, like I described earlier, long, thin cuts, pretty uniform cuts.
These were the cut. It was the cuts were like this on her kind of wrist, forearm area. Is that right?
I don't know what the date of this photograph is, but they look pretty uniform like they do here, yes.
Like to enter 376C into evidence?
Any objection?
Eles não mostram isto?
No objection.
Okay,
I don't.
376C in
Okay.
evidence.
What's that?
Ok. O que é que tem? Os cortes? Quais são os cortes?
And can we put back up 376G?
Não vejo cortes nenhuns, bro.
Seeing 376C, is this consistent with the scratches on 376G? Are these consistent with the scratches you saw on Ms. Heard?
I don't see a date. Is that the same time? Is that the same date?
Hold on.
I mean,
My
these
question
are-
is, are the scratches similar to what you saw on Ms. Heard?
These are uniform, kind of long, thin scratches, yes.
I'd like to enter
scratches.
376G into evidence.
Any objection?
Pá, não sei,
I mean,
Sabtoshi.
foundation
Pode não
hasn't
permitir.
authenticated the
Porque é
documents
demasiado
to
gráfico.
witness.
I mean, I'm just asking if the pictures are consistent with
I'll
what he's...
allow it 376G in evidence.
And can you publish it, please?
It is.
Thank you.
Ah, ok. Bro, parece que foi arranhada por um gato. Já vi, já vi.
Now, you were in the house, you said, for 12 to 13 hours on March 8th, 2015, correct?
Yeah, isso eu também sei, Elsa.
Correct.
Também já
going
vi.
into March 9th, 2015.
Okay. And you spoke to Mr. Judge when you were in the house, correct?
You had interaction with Mr. Judge, yes.
And you had interaction with Dr. Kipper when you were in the house, correct?
Correct.
And you had interaction with Debbie Lloyd when you were in the house, correct?
Yes, briefly.
Okay.
Bro, what the fuck?
And isn't it true that in the entire time you were there, you were not informed as to what caused damage to Mr. Depp's finger on March 8th?
Objection, hearsay.
I'm asking what he wasn't told.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
You didn't know what could cause damage to Mr. Depp's hand while you were there on March 8th, correct?
Dr. Kipper told me he'd sustained an injury on one of his fingers.
Objection, hearsay.
Wait, you asked the question.
Oh,
Next question.
okay, you said he sustained an injury to his finger,
Yes,
but you don't know what caused the injury to his finger.
one of
correct?
his fingers.
But you don't know you don't know how his finger was injured,
I
correct?
don't think anybody mentioned it to me at that time.
Right, no one mentioned it to you at that time, correct?
Eles fartam-se de rir.
Hearsay.
Sorry, I'll allow it. Next question.
Pim.
Now, you understand that there was a phone in the house that was recording during the cleanup, correct?
Sorry, I didn't hear all of that.
Did you come to understand that there was a phone in the house that was recording as people were cleaning up?
At that time, no.
But you now know that there was a phone that was recording people as they were cleaning
Epá,
up.
yeah, mas olha, vou-vos dizer uma coisa. Se alguém tem a perder com a demissão do Johnny Depp dos Piratas das Caraíbas, são os Piratas das Caraíbas. Porque, pá, eu que sou um fã, pá, incondicional dos Piratas das Caraíbas, vou-vos eu dizer que aquele franchise sem o Johnny Depp não faz sentido absolutamente nenhum. Não faz mesmo sentido absolutamente nenhum. Pá, não sei o que é que eles vão fazer. Podem fazer uma história com o regresso do William e da Elizabeth. Podem trazer o David Jones de volta, que foi isso que o último filme deu meio que a entender que ia acontecer. Sem o Johnny Depp, ardeu. Não faz sentido. Portanto, já não... Pá, não sei. Fantastic Beasts, eu acho que o Mads Mikkelsen fez um bom trabalho e eu não acho que o Johnny Depp fosse o melhor Grindelwald, na minha opinião. No entanto, nos Piratas das Caraíbas, bro, foda-se, o gajo é o Jack Sparrow. Tipo, não vale a pena. Esqueçam.
Okay, 378A. Any objection to 378A?
Yes, Your Honor, we do have an objection. I believe this is a recording that has the voices of people other than Ms. Heard and Mr. Depp, and on that basis, it's hearsay.
Okay.
Unless I'm incorrect about which document we're talking about.
Sure.
Pima. Pronto, eles estão a falar. Os advogados. Quem são aqueles dois ali atrás? Devem ser estagiários da firma de advogados, não? Olha a juíza. Está uma senhora ali a trabalhar num computador. Está outro rapaz ali a trabalhar num computador. Estagiários. Como é que é, Xavier? Sair mais a perder com tudo vai ser... Eu acho que ela vai sair a perder só pelo simples facto que a opinião pública está claramente contra ela. Portanto, acho que ninguém se vai querer associar a ela porque sabem que vão perder dinheiro, meu. Pura e simplesmente. Percebem? Enquanto que o Johnny Depp provavelmente... Epá, não sei, mano. Deixa ver. Mas eu acho que provavelmente o Johnny Depp vai sair por cima disto, meu. Mesmo que seja condenado, depois disto ter sido público, isto agora já é um bocado irrelevante o que a juíza decide, para ser sincero. Vocês já pensaram nisso? Porque claramente o Johnny Depp neste momento está toda a gente a favor dele. O facto disto ter sido público, porque se não fosse público, se calhar as pessoas não tinham noção, percebem? Mas como foi público e como está tanta gente a ver isto worldwide, estão a ver? Como está toda a gente a ter acesso ao julgamento, as pessoas neste momento vão fazer o seu julgamento e a opinião pública neste momento é tudo. Isto literalmente a opinião pública decide, mano. A opinião pública é que vai pagar os filmes, a opinião pública é que vai pagar as produções, a opinião pública é que vai pôr o Johnny Depp na ribalta e a opinião pública é que vai cancelar a Amber Heard, meu. Epá, é o que é. Sim, a transparência é super importante. E neste caso vai beneficiar muito de Johnny Depp, mano. Vamos ter que ser sinceros. Porque até aqui o Johnny Depp, estas informações não foram lançadas ao público e o gajo foi sempre crucificado. Os fãs estão todos do lado dele e na minha opinião com razão. Pois também eu também acho que sim. Ele já não entra em mais Piratas dos Caribas, malta. Ele já disse. E eu percebo o porquê. Eu percebo o porquê dele não entrar em mais Piratas dos Caribas. Imaginem, tipo, numa situação como esta, pá, não vai ser muito complicado. A gaja está passada, meu, olhem lá. Olha, este senhor super contente. Ela está chateadíssima, meu. Dá para perceber ali atrás. Oi? Ela olha para ele. Ele nem sequer olha para ela. Ela foi apupada, by the way. Ela foi apupada enquanto chegou ao tribunal. Hoje.
Going back to the photos that you took for a moment.
Pronto, estás a ver?
Of that damage in the house, you recall giving that testimony?
Yes.
Okay. Did
Pá, não
Mr.
sei.
Depp ask you for the photos?
No.
Did you give the photos to counsel for Mr. Depp?
Some of them, yes. Yeah.
Did you withhold any photos from Mr. Depp or his counsel?
Didn't withhold any photos from anybody. I didn't withhold.
Did you give all of the photos you have on your phone to Mr. Depp and his counsel?
No.
Not all of the photos on my phone, no.
All the photos of the damage that occurred on March 8th, 2015.
Probably not all of them, I don't think so, no.
You didn't give them all to Mr. Depp and his counsel.
Ele está
I
a ser
don't believe I
esperto.
gave all of the photos.
Está a ser esperto ele. Ou seja, tipo, ele está a fazer perguntas.
Why not?
Deste todas as fotografias do teu telefone? Não. Deste todas as fotografias do Damage? Não. Se ele tirou, basta ele ter tirado uma fotografia que não deu e não deu todas.
I gave an amount of photos to them.
Do you know how many photos you gave to Mr. Depp and his counsel?
I don't know precisely, no.
Could you give an estimate as to how many photos you gave?
I really can't. No, an amount. I don't recall how many.
More than 3?
Yes,
More than 10?
possibly more than 10. Yeah, maybe.
Between 10 and 20?
Oh mano, foda-se, este gajo é ridículo.
I mean,
Overruled on that one.
Overruled.
Do you know?
sorry.
She overruled you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Possibly more than 10. Yeah,
But somewhere between 10 and 20, is that right?
possibly. I honestly don't know.
Could it be more than 20?
I don't think so.
Did Mr. Depp's counsel ask for all the photos?
Foda-se, pá, esta merda agora.
I don't recall.
Estava a sair tudo, pá. Que
You don't
nojo.
recall one way or the other what they asked for?
Até está constipado por causa desta merda, meu. Fico uma semana tipo a tossir esta porcaria toda para fora.
I don't recall how many were asked for, requested.
Hoje já não vou ver mais nada, malta, em princípio. Estamos a ver isto e estamos a ver isto bem.
20?
Portanto,
Correct.
epá, imaginem, eu não estou mal da gripe já, ou seja, eu não me sinto mal da gripe já. Há bué que não me sinto mal da gripe, desde sexta, pá, aí, ou de quinta. A cena é que eu sempre que tenho uma gripe ou uma coisa assim,
For this case also,
fico sempre tipo com bué da expectoração, estão a ver? Tipo agarrado aos pulmões, aos brônquios, ou sei lá. E então isto fica aqui, eu tenho que estar sempre a tossir isto para fora.
That you're talking about?
I don't remember how many for this.
But was it the same amount of photos that you gave to the Mr. Depp's counsel in the UK?
I don't know if it was the same amount. I don't recall.
Did Mr. Depp's counsel in this case ask for all the photos you had of the damage of March 8th, 2015?
All of the photos? I don't think they requested all of the photos.
They didn't ask for all the photos you had of that damage?
I don't know if they requested them all.
Was it Mr. Waldman who asked you for the photos?
Originally, I don't remember who called it. Shillings. Were they,
Did Mr. Waldman ever ask you for the photos?
I don't know if he asked me specifically. If he was part of that team, I assume so.
And you spoke to Mr. Waldman, is that right?
I did.
Que são aquelas pessoas todas ali atrás, bro?
And he was part of the team that was asking for the evidence you had.
É
what
tipo.
occurred in Australia in
É o
20.
júri, aquelas pessoas todas que ali estão. São aquelas pessoas que vão supostamente decidir.
Okay. And as part of that team,
Família, não
he
sei.
and others were asking
É a
for all-
família de quem?
were asking for
Da
photos
Amber?
from Australia from March 8th, 2015. Is that
Ah, mas
right?
não acredito que está a começar a chover agora.
Them at some point, some of
And,
them.
and you provided, and that's when.
É pá, foda-se,
Is
mano.
that right?
Já é pá, e a quarta
And
vez.
then, was there
O
separate
tempo está
counsel that
fixe
asked you
durante
for
o
photos
dia.
in this case?
Chega a hora que eu vou sair e começa a chover, puto. Foda-se.
Yeah, I mean,
Was it-
it was
was it-
essentially the same.
Who was it that asked you for photos in this case?
I don't recall it.
Ah, do lado direito, ok.
specifically.
Was it a man or a woman?
Então do lado direito é aqueles gajos, são aqueles
Part
gajos.
of the team, I don't recall.
And when did they make that request?
When? I don't know a date. I don't know specifically.
You know what year?
Ou seja, se estiveres virado de frente para a juíza, eles estão do lado direito. Está certo?
Prior to this, obviously.
So it could have been in 2022 that they asked you for the photos?
Lado direito do juiz. Ah, então ok, então é do
I
esquerdo,
don't recall.
So
da sala.
maybe late 2021 or early 2022, is that what you're saying?
Honestly, don't recall which part of the year.
But it's either 2021 or 2022, is that right?
I would imagine that's probably correct.
Então, Josinho, o que é que estás para aí a dizer, bro? Eu não
And
percebo.
and you gave them all.
Oh,
gave them
pchi,
some of the photos
pussy,
you
oh,
had?
o que vais fazer? Bro, eu não percebo.
Not all.
Mano, tens que falar português.
Correct.
So do you have more than 10 to 20 photos on your phone of the damage?
O que é que tu estás
that
para aí a
occurred in
dizer, bro?
Australia?
Again, I don't recall the amount.
But you have a larger amount on your phone than what you provided
What the
to
fuck?
Mr. Depp's counsel, is that right?
Objection, Your Honor.
Que
Ask
é um
next.
pussiol?
Cumulative.
I'll sustain the objection, was asked and answered.
É a ofensa e o quê? Really?
Going to London for.
Puto, nunca ouvi essa expressão na minha
You didn't live
vida.
at the house in London, correct?
I didn't live there, correct?
Okay. Do you know if Miss Heard had friends over to
okay.
the house in London?
She did. They came to stay. Yes.
And they stayed for.
É na
they stayed
brincadeira.
from
Bro, eu nem sei o que é que estás para aí a
September
dizer,
9th to
portanto, olha.
September 22nd, 2014, correct?
I don't remember the duration, but that's possible.
Okay. And they were staying. They were literally staying at the house, correct?
They were accommodated at the house.
Olha, ficou bem este frame.
And so, you don't know who was drinking the
Morreu a
bottles of
câmera.
wine that were brought into the house, correct?
At which point? What do you mean?
When Miss Heard's friends were there, you don't know who was drinking the
They I took
wine.
I took care of them as I would take care of any guests that came into any house.
And wasn't it 5
A
to
da
7
CBS
guests?
morreu, acho
Wasn't
eu.
it 5 to 7 guests?
Yeah, da
Remember the
CBS
number?
morreu.
Sounds about right.
Okay, and then at the end of the night, there was 1 or 2 bottles of wine finished, right?
When Mr. Depp and Miss Heard were there on their own, there was certainly that amount. Yes.
But you know how many? You don't know how many? You don't know how many bottles were there when it was Miss Heard and her friends, correct?
I would say more.
You don't know, but you don't know one way or the other, right?
I don't recall the count, but certainly more than when there were just 2 of them in the house because
you
there
don't
were
know- but you
7
don't-
extra people or 5 people.
But you don't know the count.
Precisely, no, I don't.
And do you know how much time Miss Heard was in London with Mr. Depp, not with her friends that were at the
A
house?
fair amount of that time.
What-
I
what do you-
don't recall days. No, I don't recall.
So they were there for a month, correct?
Thereabouts, yeah.
And I mean, when I say they,
A câmera morreu.
Miss Heard and Mr. Depp were in London for about a month, right?
Correct. Around about a month.
And wasn't it true that for about 2 to 3 weeks, Miss Heard's friends were also staying in London?
I don't think 2 or 3 weeks. I don't recall, but I don't think it was that long.
You don't know one way or the other, right?
I don't think it was that long. I
But
think,
you don't have anything to base that on, right? Just what your memory is saying.
correct.
Okay. And you don't know what happened in London when you weren't there, correct?
You mean after I'd left of an evening?
Yeah.
Usually the chef was there still when I left each evening, Russell, who would take care of dinner and leave later that each night.
And then after that, the chef left. You don't know what happened in the house, correct?
I wasn't there,
Right.
Bro,
And you don't know for certain whether Mr. Depp drank wine or not in London, right?
I don't believe so. There's usually, when it was just the two of them in the house, there was usually only one glass in the morning, either on the kitchen sink or on the bedside stand in the master bedroom.
But you don't know who drank from that. You don't know who drank from that glass when you weren't there, right?
When I wasn't there, correct, but when I usually left the house, I'd already poured Miss Heard a glass of wine before I left, invariably.
But
pimba! E não era o Johnny que andava a ver.
wine or not, correct? In that
I
trade.
wasn't there after I left.
Okay. And you don't know what started the fights you talked about in London, correct? Other than that one you said you heard about her hand.
The second one that I described, I was in the vicinity. I heard the first comment of this. That was the start of that argument.
And you don't actually know if there was an argument before what you heard, right?
Of that evening, I didn't
Yeah.
hear another one.
É isso que eles querem implicitamente fazer. É esse o caso deles, basicamente.
And you don't know what happened in Australia also between March 5th and March 8th, correct?
The 6th, I left on Friday the 6th was when I left for the weekend.
Okay, so between Friday the 6th
Continua sem ter
and you got to the
que
house on
imagem
March
isto.
8th, you don't know what happened.
É que aquele está mais alto, pá.
And you
É o
never
mordomo.
saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, right?
Sorry, say again.
You never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, correct?
Beyond sort of finger prodding and violent, I didn't see either of them be violent towards each other.
You never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time, right? Just
I
wanted-
didn't see her be violent, depending on your...
Perspective.
I can show you a witness statement where you said you never saw Miss Heard be violent at any time.
Okay, violence, yes, I didn't see violence per se.
All right, thank you. I have nothing.
All right, redirect.
Thank you.
Aí vai ele. Pronto. Os gajos do Johnny. Quem é aquele senhor que está ao lado do Johnny, então? Tipo, não deveria ser o advogado dele?
So in each of these situations where you've been around Mr. Depp, you've always been employed by somebody else?
Correct.
All right, I'll sustain as to leading, strike the answer. Next question.
Are you based anywhere other than the UK? Where do you live?
É tipo o
I live in
boss.
central London.
Have you ever lived anywhere else?
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
We heard some discussion on Cross about photos, which I suspect you remember. Why did you take the photos of the property damage in Australia?
As I do, and a lot of my jobs in various assignments and jobs through the years, I take photos as points of reference for whatever reason. I mean, if I'm packing suitcases up and they're going to be in transit and I'm not with the suitcases, I'll take a picture of contents and when I send.
Pois foi.
So I know.
Isto era a pergunta que toda a gente quer saber. Porque é que o gajo tirou as fotos, é?
Pictures as points of reference. I sometimes take pictures of table settings that I've done or which I know I can use later on as reference.
Were the photos of property damage in Australia the first photos that you've taken in the course of working with Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard?
Objection leading.
All right, I'll sustain as to leading. Next question.
Had you ever taken photos before?
Yes.
What kinds of things had you taken photos of?
In London, reference points and dinner table settings. Sometimes Mr. Depp would write notes for Miss Heard. He'd leave notes on the sort of kitchen table when he left for work. I believe I took pictures of those. They were, there, things like that.
Yeah. É
Just
difícil.
setups of once I set up houses, it's always good to take photos of rooms so I can cross-reference later on if I need.
Eu acho que este senhor não quer nem lixar um nem outro, percebem?
Did Ms. Heard or her counsel ever ask you for photos of any of the photos you took in Australia?
No.
I'll sustain as to leading. Next question.
Porquê que será que... Porquê que será que eles não querem...
Can I see Plaintiff's Exhibit 159?
Porquê que será que eles não lhe pediram então? Será que ela não tem muito interesse que se mostrem aquelas fotografias, não é? Na Austrália. Ela não deve ter muito interesse que se mostrem as fotos. Portanto, caso contrário, tinham pedido. Certo?
And I think this is a multi-page document. Can you scroll through? I think we have 3 pages here. Mr. King, do you recognize this document?
Yes, it's the floor plan of the house in Australia.
And do you recall on cross-examination you were asked to kind of describe where some of the property damage was?
Yes.
So right now on the screen in front of you,
Yep.
which floor would you say this is?
This is the top floor with the master suite and 2 other bedrooms.
Ok.
Okay. And I believe counsel asked you if there was blood in one of the bathrooms or one of the bathtubs. Do you recall that?
Yes, they did ask that.
Would that have been on this floor?
I think they were referring to the master tub. I think that's what he said.
Pusil, a guy who does not behave like a man. Essa é para todos do chat mesmo kkkk.
Dot it. How
I
does
think
that
you just
work?
dotted, yes.
Okay, so that looks like the master tub to me.
Obrigado pelos 2 euros, dude.
And just to clarify, did you recall seeing any blood or damage there?
In the tub, no.
Okay. Can you mark for us on the screen where you did see the damage that was discussed on cross?
The mirrors were. Can I dab on here again?
Sure.
Yeah. So these are the sinks. The 2 mirrors were above each. The mirror above each sink.
Okay. Can we
What the fuck?
scroll up to the page prior?
Ooh.
And can you point out for us on this page? Well, first of all, which floor is this?
This is the main level floor. Essentially, the 2nd floor, if you want.
Okay. And can you point out for us here on this map which of the where the property damage was?
Yes. How many dabs am I allowed? Around here, kitchen area. This was the TV, the wall-mounted TV. I ran out of dabs.
And I apologize, actually, Your Honor. Can we move this into evidence?
Any objection to 159? No objection. All right, 159 in evidence.
Can we publish this to the jury?
Okay.
So, Mr. King, I apologize for interrupting you. So you were just pointing out where on I think this is the 2nd floor?
Yes, essentially the main level, yeah.
To the jury.
Okay, so other than these 3 dots, do you recall any other places where there was damage?
Yes, where it says family room, there was the TV was wall mounted on that wall in between family and lounge. The sofa was approximately where you've got the red
Já?
square, red.
Bro, isto eu estou colado a ver esta merda.
Facing towards the TV.
CBS.
The lounge, as you... Sorry, too quick.
Ah, eles estão a mostrar isso lá.
The
Foi aqui?
lounge, as you... Sorry, too quick. The lounge was essentially the art studio.
Sim, o plano da casa está lá. Oh, estes malucos.
And the bedrooms.
Não, Spunky. Provavelmente
to the
não.
left there, where
Como é que é, Fábio?
damaged lamp and shade, blood on
É
the
pasta.
duvet, etc. that I described.
Não é bem assim.
Okay, and then let's go to the first page.
Olha aí o
And
terraço
which floor
daquela.
is this?
This is the lower ground floor.
Okay, and can you point out for us,
Trophy
did you
room.
find the finger on this floor?
Correct.
Can you point out to us where you found the finger?
Yes. I can. Right here. There we go. It's the end of the bar. It was on the tiled floor below that end of the bar.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, and any other significant property damage that you want to point out on this floor?
Yes, as I said, this was the. Can I dab again? Yeah. So that was the most part of the broken glass. That's where the Stolichnaya bottle was, below that bar, by the bar stools. There were 3 bar stools that you could sit at there. On this back wall here, there was plaster damage. Over here above the sink, or to the side of the sink, was more plaster damage on the walls. Behind the bar, that mirror was cracked, broken.
Encontrou o dedo dele, porque a gaja atirou-lhe com uma garrafa e cortou-lhe o dedo, meu. Isto é uma cena...
That was the spillages as well, that smelled like alcohol to me, the puddles of alcohol.
Foda-se. Ela encontrou o dedo do gajo ali. Mas para onde é que ele foi depois desta merda toda? Queria-me perceber. Para o hospital.
I mean, that was the most part of the damage around that area, in front of the bar, especially.
Não, foi só um pequeno corte. Tipo, cortou-lhe parte do dedo, basicamente.
Blood drips around that white, cream-colored tiled floor in the games room. And this is the staircase down. It was this side that the chip was out of the stone step.
Okay.
And if I can get another dab in there, right about in the center of that bar, the chunk out of the side of the counter bar top.
Okay. How many exits are there on the ground floor?
Well, all of these were exits. You know, all these. My office was off over here. I think you can just see out. It says study. Big glass sliding door.
Okay.
The gym had an exit up here. This went into the garage. There was a button you could press for the automatic doors to come up.
Okay.
The laundry area, which is right here, this is actually an exit.
Okay.
Out into the yard, essentially. The gym, all of those rooms had an exit.
Uau. E depois acho que foi pintar as cenas porque ele disse que molhou o dedo.
Other than Mr. Depp's counsel, did anybody else ever ask to see your photos?
I'll allow it.
No.
Pima. O gajo teve para dizer.
All right, is this witness subject to recall?
Bro, isto é bué, tipo, isto é uma cena bué marada.
All right, sir, since you're subject to recall, it's important that you do not discuss your testimony with anybody and do not pay attention to the trial and don't watch anything about the trial, okay?
Of course.
All right, thank you. All right, you can step down, sir. Yes, ma'am?
Thank you.
Pronto, lá vai o senhor. Então o gajo pôs o bloco de post-its ali. O Johnny sorriu. A advogada do Johnny parece ser uma Karen. Qual advogada? Esta senhora aqui? Isto é da Heard. Não é do Johnny. Estes dois são do Johnny. Estes dois são os da Heard, acho eu. Deve ser o Senior e o Junior. E este é o Junior e a Senior. Certo? A de azul ao lado dele. Ou seja, deve ser... Basicamente o princípio deve ser... Deve haver uma pessoa... Os seniors devem ser gajos já bem respeitados e bem assentos. Estão a ver? E os juniors devem ser gajos que tipo, estão a começar ainda no mundo da advocacia e que são promissores, são futuros promissores e que basicamente lhes deixam participar nestes casos para eles ganharem notoriedade. Isto é a maneira como eu vejo as coisas. Que não sei. Não, nunca vi Suits. Conheço a série, mas nunca vi. Não, nunca vi. Não se... Pá, conheço a série, mas nunca vi.
And I just have one housekeeping matter. We're going through the exhibits you gave me this morning. Thank you again for that. But one of them was 485, and I have a list that was 485A, just the first page, but you gave me all 8 pages. Have you both agreed that all 8 pages of this document come in, or is that something that, should I give 485 back and you can try again to give it back to me tomorrow? Okay. All right, I'll give that back to you, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. All right, thank you. All right, and are we going to start with a remote witness tomorrow? Is that going to be your first witness? All right, make sure she's signed on by 9:40 so we can have it all set up for 10 o'clock start, okay?
Ok.
All right.
Pronto. All rise. Pronto, vão-se embora. Foi bom. Olha, o gajo a dizer, foi bom. Aí, man. A gaja nem fala com os advogados, meu. Pima, vai-se só embora. Cagou nos advogados, meu. Nem lhes falou. What the fuck? Já vazou. Bro. Onde é que está o Johnny? Vazou agora. Ali. Pelo outro lado. O Johnny também vai com outras pessoas. Olha. Mano, o pessoal... Sabem uma coisa? Tipo... O pessoal, tipo... Epá, dá-lhe bué da força, man. E andam sempre com ele, ainda bem, puto. Eu acho que ele merece bué. Merece bué, tipo, receber este carinho. Pá, eu curti bué de ver umas pessoas que foram ter com ele, tipo, para lhe dizer, pá, gosto muito de ti, não sei o quê. Houve um senhor. Vocês vão ver. Foda-se. Johnny Depp greets fans outside court. Não é corte, é corte. É isto, olha. Este senhor, isto é a irmã dele, acho.
We love you, Johnny. We love you, man. Appreciate everything, man.
E ele que foi falar com este senhor, meu.
Man. Appreciate everything, man.
Este gajo fica bem feliz. Devem ser os seguranças dele. São os seguranças.
Love you, Johnny.
Love you, man. Good luck.
Olha que fixe, meu. Grande cena, brutal. Anyway. Não, acabou por hoje. Acaba sempre assim por hoje. Eu também acho que ele merece, tipo, que as pessoas tenham a iniciativa de ir ter com ele e não sei o que, meu. Acho bom mesmo. Bem, malta, hoje já não vemos o Rick. Vamos ver isto, que é o